How's it going, bros? Shaded here. I'm back with another BDL battle, except I had it earlier today, and I was not able to record during that time, because I was technically supposed to be working. So, here's some epic post commentary instead. So, looking at my opponent's... Alright, so I'm not prepared, which is a good sign. But heading over to the dock, and looking at my opponent's team, the first thing that I noticed immediately was very low speed overall. A couple base 100s, couple base 80s, 2 base 30s. His speed is very, I don't want to say bad, but it could be improved. Now, obviously, he has workarounds. He has a lot of priority. He has Lucario Extreme Speed and Vacuum Wave. He has Togekiss Extreme Speed. He has Shedinja Shadow Sneak, Cloyster Ice Shard, this thing's Extreme Speed, and I think that's it. But otherwise, he's pretty reliant on webs to be able to outspeed a lot of things, especially with my team's pretty good speed overall. I sort of creep the 100 area as well with both Mew and Zapdos, but aside from that, Cinderace outspeeds his entire team, and most importantly, Beedrill outspeeds his entire team. Now, when I ran through counts, I realized at +2, Beedrill killed everything on his team, apart from Steelix and technically Shedinja if I didn't have a move to hit it. Which I didn't in the end, because I didn't think he would bring Shedinja. Because, looking at my Beedrill set, I've just got very basic set, just hits pretty much everything on his team. At +2, you know, this side's Poison Jab, Poison Jab, Poison Jab, Poison Jab, Poison Jab, U-turn, Poison Jab, Drill Run, takes a lot from Drill Run, and U-turn. So realistically, his entire team just hates having to face Beedrill. Because something very important about Beedrill, and the reason why its EV spread is so basic, is the fact that base 80 Scarfs reach 426 speed. Because their base only goes up to 284 speed, that's why I have Zapdos at 285. But it means that Beedrill Max Speed Jolly outspeeds Scarf base 80s by 1 point. And looking at the mons that are on his team that are fast, his best Scarfer on his team is definitely Togekiss at base 80, which gets 1 point below Beedrill. And I don't think anything faster would run a Scarf. I think Scarf Lucario is fine. I think Scarf Shaman and Scarf Galvantula are also decent, but I think if he needs webs to deal with most of my team, I think he would forego Scarf Galvantula offensively. I thought there was definitely a reasonable chance he might bring Scarf Shaman, or just Shaman in general. So I had Spadef Zapdos to wall it, and just use Heat Wave. This is just 3 attacks Roost. Very basic, overall, just speed to outspeed base 80s. Which was my general check for Beedrill, and obviously for Quagsire, with its grass weakness. And aside from that, I definitely thought that Beedrill would do a lot of work this week, just because he's slow, he doesn't really have many special attackers either. So I also knew that Quagsire would be doing a lot of work, and if Quagsire could wall the stuff that could kill Beedrill and get Toxics off, then Beedrill would just be able to, like, 6-0 his entire team. So because of that, obviously, I have Beedrill, just the, normal set. I have Quagsire, very normal set. It's relaxed, but with 8 speed to outspeed, his 2 base 30s in the form of Steelix and Slowking. Outspeeding Slowking isn't too important, but I do like getting Toxic on it faster than it can Toxic me. And outspeeding Steelix also isn't too big of a deal, but it's nice to just be able to Scald it first in case I need to burn it. And full physically defensive, it means that Charizard has to click Outrage to 2-hit KO me. I don't think Dragonite can ever 2-hit KO me, Cloyster can never 2-hit KO me, and Lucario can't either. Which is super useful, because that's pretty much his entire team. His only real threats to Quagsire are, as I said before, Shaman, Energy Ball on Galvantula, Energy Ball I believe on Claydol, and Grass Knot on Togekiss. Because aside from that, really his team can't do much to touch Quagsire. So I pretty much had to bring it, also because he's the best Pokemon, as I've stated previously. And then, to accompany them both, I got Zapdos, Spadef Zapdos, Walls pretty much everything else in his team. Can serve as a decent check to Dragonite and Zard as well, but it doesn't like taking too many hits. I have Discharge, I just like Paralysis, even if I'm faster than him usually, just because Paralysis can open up a lot of opportunities. Yeah, Roost, HP Ice to hit Claydol, and to also hit Dragonite, and then Heat Wave to hit Shaman, hit Avantula, hit this thing, Shedinja, and also hit Steelix. And then I thought I could win the battle with just these 3 mons, because I didn't actually see any way, without going super on the deep end of sets, that he could actually beat those 3. And I was pretty sure that Westy was not the most seasoned veteran of battling, because, I mean, I don't know, it just felt like it to me. So I decided, with those 3, I wanted just a way of dealing with webs, because webs could still serve as an issue to Beedrill. So I chose Scarf, Switcheroo, Klefki, which would be able to Switcheroo Scarf onto Tarantula, do it onto Claydol, potentially onto Shedinja or Slowking, or even Steelix as well. Because he doesn't really like getting tricked to Scarf, because his team is generally just utility or setup. That's pretty much his entire team. He really wouldn't run choice very often. And it also meant that, like, if I saw that this was a nasty plot set, then I could technically trick it to Scarf if I haven't already tricked it away. But as you'll see, I already tricked it away before I find out that it's nasty plot. Aside from that, I've got Spikes because Chip is nice. I just wanted to chip stuff down for Beedrill to be able to hit Steelix and then just win after 1 SD. Defog because he has no dark types, actually, is another thing I noticed. Klefki was definitely a very free bring, just because of the fact that I can defog on all of his mons, and I can Toxic any of his mons. And I chose Toxic over Thunderwave because I thought that putting his setup sweepers on a timer and having to sit in front of Quag is just a really good way of just whittling his team down and getting me the safest victory possible. And with those 4 mons, I was kind of stuck on what to choose, because I sort of felt as though I'd sort of dealt with everything at this point. And there's definitely a lot of mons I could bring. I could bring Smeargle, I could bring Mew, Hydreigon, Cinderace, Metagross. You know, I could pretty much bring everything apart from, I wouldn't bring Trevenant because I just don't think Trevenant is gonna have a fun time, because I think Cloyster and Zard are just gonna come pretty much always. Even if they're not gonna set up on me, I think they're just gonna come for their defensive utility, as Fire Dragon and 180 of defense goes. And I don't think I could bring Spinder because the mon is too good, and I don't want to 6-0 someone that quickly. So in the end, I chose Cinderace and Metagross. I have banded Cinderace, just outspeeding Galvantula by 1 point. Very normal band set. You know, Gunk Shot, hit stuff, Fireball, hit stuff, High Jump Kick, U-turn. You know, very basic, but I just thought, why not? Pivoting is kind of nice here, because if I can pivot around his threats a lot easier and I can get Beedrill in pretty safely, it'll be really nice. And then I just had last slot Metagross. I saw his team was very rock weak, and I definitely wanted to bring Stealth Rocks of some kind, but I didn't really want to bring Mew. I'm not really sure why I didn't bring Mew, but I just felt as though Metagross could do more here. Because I felt as though Metagross's just huge attack, along with its coverage of Ice Punch, Rock Slide, Earthquake, just did a lot to this team. More than I think Mew could have done. So I just have Rocks, these 3 attacks. Very weird spread at first. 80 HP is to survive 2 Steelix Earthquakes, always with leftovers. The 44 speed is to outspeed base 75, so Claydol. The max attack is just max attack, and then I dump the rest into Spadef. Just overall have a nice tank on the field, just be able to take a random hit while I'm timing things down with Quagsire Toxic and Klefki Toxic. And also just the fact that it can definitely punish a lot of things coming in, thinking that it can take them on. And then it just hits straight back with a 405 attack Ice Punch. I just thought would be really useful here, more than Mew. So we get into the game. I thought he'd bring something similar to Zard, Cloyster, Garvantula, Shaman, Claydol, and possibly Togekiss or Lucario. So when we get into the replay, we see he brought Dragonite, which I didn't think he'd bring. But otherwise, I think his team was pretty similar to what I think he'd bring. Though Nova Garvantula was also very weird to me. Which I thought, how else is he going to deal with my fast Pokemon, apart from, I guess, setup, but I have acquired. So, we get into turn 1. I lead Metagross because I expect the Claydol lead. I just want to set up my rocks, he sets up his. I just want to see what type of set he is. I'm faster by 1 point, so I get to Ice Punch. He's dual screens leftovers. So I'm thinking, okay, he's just going to either spin this turn or just set up his light screen so I can get Klefki in there easily. He goes for spin. So Klefki is in, and I think this is probably my best choice just to go for Switcheroo now. Because I still have no idea if this is Scarf, you know, or whatever else his items are. And I think this was definitely the best choice to trick something for. Which then makes him Scarfed into Light Screen, so I get to default his screens away and the rocks on my side. Cloyster comes in, and I go hard Quag. No, I don't. I Toxic first, because Toxing first is fine, because if I go hard Quag, I waste a turn just switching while he's setting up, which I don't really need that extra turn lost. So, like, while he's setting up, I can send in Quag anyway, and it's not like Quag is some sort of thing that threatens it. It's just threatening the fact that, you know, that Liquidation crit did 38, and that Stab. So that, like, getting Toxic earlier is good. So, Quag size in, and I just click Recover, because there's no point not to. He just goes for a Spear. I was unsure if he was King's Rock or Sash. I presume he was Sash. I haven't actually seen Westy's entire paste, but I'm just going to assume he was Sash. So, Togekiss comes in, Ice Strip straight to Zapdos, I just click Discharge one of your Para. Air Slash is doing about 25 at +2, which is really good for me, because it means that at +6, Zapdos is still going to be able to wall it. So he brings Steelix in, I just click Discharge again because there's no reason not to. No reason to overpredict when Heat Wave burning Togekiss would actually be bad for me. Because then I can't Para it, I can't Toxic it, and because it's a leftovers nasty plot, it would probably pose a big threat later on. So, Zapdos stays in, I click Heat Wave, seeing if he's going to go for Rocks or something, and he goes for Head Smash, which I thought was really cool. And you might be thinking as well, how is Heat Wave doing so little? I count this, and he is AV Steelix with max HP and max Spadef, which was really cool actually. I think it actually did a lot to what my initial strategy was, which was opening up Steelix with Zapdos so I could get Beedrill in. Because Beedrill still can't touch it, just because of the fact it's Steelix, but making sure that Zapdos can't touch it very well is really cool. I also calculated Head Smash at about 55 to 60 on Zapdos, so as long as I was roosting beforehand, I could stall out his Head Smashes very easily. Especially because of the fact I'm static, so if he ever hit one, there was obviously the chance of getting paralyzed. So after I see the Head Smash, I just go Quag, just for safe play. Quag takes nothing, because it's a beautiful bastard. And then he just goes Dragonite, I click School, because why not? And then I'm just going to click Toxic here, because I think he's just going to DD, and he does, and then the next couple turns are just me Scalding, not really doing much. I find he's Roost DD, and I just keep clicking School. I do 4% on multi-scale, and then he goes for an attack. I'm unaware, it does nothing to me, and I get to just keep on sitting in. He brings Togekiss in again. I get Schooled a crit. Luckily I didn't burn, because as I said before, a burn would be really bad for me. So I just go Zapdos again, straight on this. I just click Discharge, because no reason not to. He brings Claydol, I go Klefki again, because I can defog his screen away. However, before I defog, it's a very free turn there, because I don't need to defog his screens instantly. So I can just Toxic straight up, because Toxic's either gonna hit Claydol or hit something else that comes in. Because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't bring Cloyster or Dragonite in after seeing how they dealt with Quagsire. So I was pretty sure he'd bring either Togekiss back in, or maybe Charizard, which he does end up bringing Charizard in. So I get the Toxic off on it, and of course I just go straight Quag. He DDs, I just click Earthquake, and then I kill his Charizard, which is a big threat to everything but Quag gone. Because otherwise, if he got like a couple DDs up and Quag wasn't here, I'm pretty sure he just won with Charizard. Which is why Quag is just such a useful mon, because it's really just the glue of this team. Any of these three mons could have just taken the game over after one or two of their boosting moves, but Quag just says no. So I just schooled, because I'm pretty sure that even with Light Screen, School did more than Earthquake to Cloyster. He's getting some high rolls on Icicle Spear, but it's still not very high overall. So I just click Schooled again, he takes a lot of Toxic. Then I click Recover, because even if he crits 5 times, he doesn't kill me. So I just get to recover for free, and then Cloyster goes down. From there he sends Togekiss in again. He sort of realizes, yeah, he gets walled by Quag. Which, I mean, yeah, I think definitely, if I were him, I would have probably brought Shaman, Energy Ball, Galvantula with webs, and also probably Grass Knot on Togekiss. Though I do think Roost, Air Slash, Heatwave, Nasty Plot is also really good, because I have doubled up on steals, and I'm very prone to bringing my steals. So that's definitely a fine set to have. It also means that he doesn't get walled by Zapdos, which is also really good. Though I don't think I actually learned what his fourth move is, so I'm just assuming it's Heatwave. So I just click Discharge, no reason not to again, then I click Heatwave. He goes for Body Press, first off, probably expecting some sort of switch straight into something like Quagsire. He goes for Head Smash again, misses, very unfortunate, but it's just, the fact is, it didn't actually matter. He brings Dragonite in, I'm HP Ice, so I just click it, get Zapdos another kill. And from here, Zapdos just walls these two now. Because the fact that Claydol is choice, doesn't have an attacking move apart from Spin, and Togekiss, Zapdos' main goal was to check Togekiss. So even with a Light Screen, I'm able to check it pretty consistently. Just the fact that just the bit of Spadef plus max HP means that even at +6, Togekiss can't actually 2-hit KO me very consistently. Especially considering that I am faster than him, so I can't get flinched by Air Slash. So I just keep on clicking Discharge here, because of the fact that I need a para. Well, I don't need one. Cinderace at this point can definitely clean up with Banded Pyro Ball, but I don't want to leave that to chance, because of the fact that, you know, Pyro Ball 90% accurate, it's not Flare Blitz for once. Pyro Ball definitely, it almost killed Claydol, I believe, and it did 90 to 100 to Togekiss, but I felt as though going for Para with Zapdos was honestly my most consistent play, because of the fact that Air Slash is doing like 56, so I can Roost here if I needed to, but he was in Discharge range anyway, and then, yeah, the game just ends. He's Spadef Claydol, I just played HP Ice a couple times. So, from this match, I think, you know, it's very important when you're facing a lot of setup, especially even with Quagsire, just to always immediately check the setup with whatever your check is. I had a similar thing with Week 10 with VJ, of just constantly sending in my checks, and just making sure he can't get set up. And the same was definitely here. I had to send Zapdos in every time against Togekiss, otherwise giving that a free turn could mean it should take down quite a few of my members, even if my members were faster. Because obviously, when I U-turned with Cinderace, I probably could have just went Beedrill and killed it, because I'm pretty sure Beedrill did just win the game from that point, just by clicking Poison Jab into U-turn, but I just wanted to go into Zapdos just in case. I don't know, honestly. I don't know why I went Zapdos over Beedrill. I think because of the fact that Beedrill never hit the field, I sort of forgot about it. But it's perfectly fine during Zapdos there as well. But anyway, yeah. I click HP Ice, and the game's over. I think overall, Westy's build was fine. I think definitely, though, he should have brought more grass moves, because Quag did just hard wool most of his team. And I think in terms of my prep, a lot of it definitely came into play. Turn 1 and Turn 2, Metagross outsped Claydol, which I EV'd for. Zapdos always outsped Togekiss, which I EV'd for. Cryosai outsped Steelix, but it never stayed in. Beedrill didn't come into play, but that didn't really matter. Klefki's trick definitely really helped, because with consistent strings up, that would have been really scary at the end. Because of the fact that, I mean, definitely if he had Reflect and Light Screen up, Togekiss would have been... my only chance would be getting power on Zapdos. Otherwise, I couldn't go Ban Cinderace with Gunk Shot. I couldn't go Mega Beedrill Poison Jab. I'd have to just get a para through Light Screen, which I think really came into play here. Also, just having Toxic on 2 Mons was really useful, because initially I was thinking maybe I want T-Wave, like I did last week, but I just thought about it more, and Quag definitely, I think, appreciates Toxic more. And especially against a team that can't deal with Quag, Toxic's definitely more helpful. Because comparing this to comparing VJ's team, you definitely see his setup Mons are, well, they all beat Quag, first of all. You know, ignores Unaware, is a special attacker, is a grass type, is a special attacker. You know, is a special attacker. The only one that doesn't really beat it is Gliscor, but Gliscor can taunt it, and is immune to the burns. So Cryosai definitely can't do much there, which is why T-Wave was so much more helpful during this week, especially because of the fact that, you know, scarfing any of his faster mons would have been a big issue for me. But here, just because of the fact that Quag rules so much of his team, also a good ground type in case I'm able to Scout Ready Scarf on Galvantula and just go into Thunders. It did so much work, and I think Toxic on the 2 Mons definitely helped a lot in this battle, just being able to chip stuff down for Quag, because otherwise, you know, it wasn't really touching them, at the same time they weren't touching me. I think the moves I had on all these Mons were pretty much the exact moves I wanted. I got use out of every move I was able to click. And overall, I think I built well this week. I think my opponent could have built better, but I think my opponent has learned from this, and I'm very glad that he's learned from this, because he looks to be a newer player, and I'm very glad that he's taking this loss on the chin, and he seems to want to learn a bit more from it. Anyway, yeah, I'm sad I couldn't actually do this during the battle, but I was doing work right beforehand, so I didn't really get a chance to record any audio. And that's just it. I 6-0'd him. I really did it. I just pressed buttons.